Whole brain thinking is developed by Ned Herman. Whole brain thinking divides the brain into four quadrants. Each quadrant represents a different part of the brain: analytical, practical, relational, and experimental. This represents the four major thinking styles. It helps you make sense of the people and the way they think. When everybody has these quadrants, it advocates that we all have a preferred way of thinking without even realizing it. The whole brain thinking means being able to fully leverage one's own preferences, stretch to other quadrants when necessary, and adapt to and take advantage of the preferences of those around you to improve performance and results. Herman created this metaphorical model to illustrate that each person's brain basically has four quadrants when it comes to the process of thinking and learning. Each of these quadrants are characterized by different thinking or learning styles.
Therefore, using your whole brain is so vital. Different jobs necessitate different brain processes, and different people prefer different types of thinking. Whole brain thinking enables us to recognize our thinking's strengths and limitations, as well as the tools to adjust our thinking to different situations. It enables us to take advantage of the entire range of possible ideas to achieve superior results. Whole brain thinking, on the other hand, allows us to access the full range of cognitive styles because it teaches us how to look at issues from numerous viewpoints and adjust our thinking styles to new contexts. It supports improved decision making, problem solving, and more creative and imaginative solutions. Some issues are simply too human and far-reaching for any machine to fully address. Using whole brain guarantees that complicated situations, such as those requiring ethical and moral issues, be examined from a variety of perspectives.
Analytical thinkers, also called as critical thinkers, is able to turn noisy data or meaningless data and information into action. They help teams analyze and make informed decisions based on collected data and identified goals. They also help their team embrace new ideas and develop a growth mindset. So why is analytical thinking important? 1. Practical foresight. Analytical thinkers are great at spotting issues before it happens. They can envision a product or service in its development and create a plan to create it. 2. Prioritization. Analytical thinkers know how to break large goals or problems into manageable and achievable steps. It helps the team manage their energy and effort in the most productive way. 3. Growth mindset. An example of an analytical thinking is approaching every setback and failure as an opportunity to learn. Analytical thinkers often incorporate past learnings to solve present problems.
Abilities that lead to the mastery of analytical thinking. 1. Analyzing information. The ability to examine information or a situation in detail in order to identify key or important elements, their strengths, and weaknesses, and use this to compile a persuasive argument, make recommendation, or solve a problem. 2. Breaking down problems. Big problems can usually be made easier by breaking them down into smaller problems. These smaller problems are often easier to solve the original big one. 3. Gathering information. Ask appropriate questions of yourself and of others in order to gain the necessary insights that will enable you to make more effective decisions about the problems you are facing. 4. Identifying issues and problems. Developing your ability to recognize underlying issues or problem based on trends, associations, and cause-effect relationships between datasets is a critical steps toward solving the right problem. 5. Identifying root cause. Root cause analysis helps ensure you have identified the actual problem as opposed to just fixing the resulting symptoms. It also helps you avoid the temptation to single out one issue in order to resolve the problems as fast as possible. 6. Organizing information. Once all relevant information has been collected successfully, it's important to organize and integrate all the pieces in the way that will provide you with insights and ideas that can be used to draw appropriate conclusions. This will lay the foundation for potential solutions to the problems you are working to solve.
Practical thinking is described as thinking about how to adapt to your surroundings or how altering your environment affects you so that you may achieve a goal. Practical science is also known as smart science or common sense. Practical thinking is not concerned with gathering additional information or analyzing what you already know in multiple ways. It is concerned with taking the knowledge that you already have and effectively using to solve problems in the real world. If you have a good practical thinking abilities, you'll be able to regulate your own thought process, adapt to situations, know how to get along with and communicate with people, and be open to different possibilities. Also, practical thinking is important because it helps you solve a real world problems. So I'll give an example, like in a workplace. Example, you need to use practical skills to apply academic knowledge and personal experience to problems. Problem solving and decision making follow the same path. In other words, practical knowledge is concerned through using or applying knowledge to direct some activity rather than acquiring new knowledge.
Practical thinking skills may mean having a mindset that means choosing what's more available and is easy to grab. However, I personally think that practical thinking skills is the ability to stick onto reality as much as possible, which means that having this kind of mindset helps a person to think more rationally and more realistic. This skill is part of a person's ability to be resilient, to recover. In general, what I'm trying to say is that having a practical mind thinking skills means being more realistic, more honest, and more human.
So, what is relational thinking psychology? Relational thinking, or the capacity to manipulate in our minds objects' mental representation of relations among objects, attributes, and events, is central to human thinking and learning. Why is relation learning important? Strong relationships between students, their teachers, and their classmates can provide young people with a framework for what successful personal interactions look like, as well as an emotional and social foundations that can foster academic excellence. What is relational knowledge? Relational knowledge is described as flexible, explicit, and can be organized into complex structures such as lists, trees, and propositional networks. Relational knowledge is central to mechanisms that are basic to human reasoning such as analogy and planning.
Relational thinking, or the lower limbic right brain thinkers. Relational thinkers are empathic and emotionally in tune than other types of thinkers, because usually their decisions are driven by their feelings. They're better at picking up on nonverbal cues, recognizing interpersonal difficulties, and considering the values of everyone in a group. because they enjoy learning with other people. When communicating with a relational thinker, engage them with stories, because seeing the information in action through stories and experiences is what they're drawn to. They prefer communicating with them in an open forum that gives everyone an opportunity to ask questions or voice out their concerns. They have fantastic interpersonal skill and are often musical with a spiritual side to their thinking.
Thinking style relational. It states that the lower right limbic part of our brain involves our behavioral and emotional responses, feelings, and being a team player. It makes you talk a lot, like being curious, expressive, supportive, and cares for each other. Like for example, when you value experience, observe value, and tries to understand the other person's emotions. Participately active Participate actively on group works, collaborate with others, and trust your instincts. It means thinkers prefer sharing ideas to personal interaction. It makes you true to yourself by working with someone to create something good. Just like as students, being united gives us a boost by effectively working each other to achieve our goals, so on and so forth.
Good day, everyone. Our topic is all about experimental thinking. It states our upper or right cerebral brain is responsible from holistic, imaginative, intuitive, integrative, and synthesizing processes. Also, some examples are infuse, imagines, curious, or plays, like surprises, break rules, speculates, and impulsive take risk. It means conclude informations from evidence and reasoning rather than from explicit statements, and so on. And thank you.
The Herman Brain Dominance Instrument provides four quadrants. Each one of them are representing a specialized cluster of mental activities and preferences. In addition to what Christian Kyle said, the fourth quadrant, which is the experimental thinkers, refer to personalities with holistic minds or more imaginative, artistic, and quite confusing from time to time. They are like or enjoying experimenting with concepts, strategize big picture approaches to problem solving, and innovate even if it's come with risk. They always look forward to the future, but they try to learn from the present too. Experimental communicators can tolerate ambiguity, but become bored with minute details. As a result, when communicating the experimental thinkers, it's acceptable to be a little creative. Make sure everything you present is related to why.